Welcome back. Today we are going to practice a pose called Swan in Yin Yoga, and or in other practices, the more active practices, you may have heard it referred to as the pigeon prep. This is a great pose to really stretch out the hips, specifically the piriformis muscle. And also, according to Chinese medicine, this is a great way of getting the liver meridian opened up so that the energy flows better through the liver and it helps you detoxify much more effectively. For this practice, you may need a blanket or a bolster, depending on your flexibility and also depending on the health of your knees. So really be mindful of that when you're getting into this pose. The easiest way to get into this pose is going through tabletop. So we're going to start out in tabletop, and then you're just going to gently walk your right knee all the way up so that the right ankle is coming closer to your left groin. And if this hurts your knee at all, please go back and see the video that I have on figure 4. That's a great alternative pose for this. But if you have healthy knees and this doesn't bother the knee at all, you can always use a blanket to raise the hip. So if your hip is way up here, I would suggest that you take a blanket and just stick it under that right hip. That gives you a little bit of more accessibility for that pose. Or even a bolster might be really good. So you can really allow that right hip to melt down so you're not holding yourself up. So see which one you would prefer to do. I really like putting the entire blanket like this and allowing my right hip, so all the way from the buttocks all the way to the knee, to rest on the blanket. And then as you come in this pose, just kind of wiggle around a little bit and make sure that you're not really leaning over to the right hip, that you can bring your hips in balance, bring your weight to the center. And by taking that right shin farther away from the hip, from the groin, you can increase the stretch. But for this yin style, we can just keep the foot close to the groin. And this would be perfect to start out with. Now, as you start, take a deep breath in and just elongate the spine. And allow your exhalation to relax you more and more. And 2 more times, just like this. Inhaling, lift the spine. And exhale, feel the groin, feel the hips melting down. And 1 more time, your inhalation elongates the spine. And your exhalation allows you to feel your hip grounding down even more. And then as you're ready, see if you like to come down on your forearm. And if this feels comfortable and there is still no pain in the knee whatsoever, you can stack your hands and bring your forehead down on top of your hands. And we're going to stay here for about 3 or 4 minutes. So really get comfortable. Make sure that you're not tolerating any pain in the knee. And then just check in and notice that these shoulders are soft. They're falling away from the ears. That your forehead is soft and smooth. That the cheeks are heavy. Even the tongue, feel that the tongue is heavy. And your throat is nice and soft. And really feel your forehead melting on top of your hands, or if you like to, you can even take your forehead all the way down to the earth if that helps.
And gently begin to just notice your breath, observing your inhalations and your exhalations. This is one of those poses that really challenge not just the body, but the mind. If you find yourself fidgeting or wanting to get out of the pose, just gently be kind to yourself without any judgment or getting frustrated. Just notice, take your awareness back to your breath. Each time, that connection with your breath can really take your mind out of the frustrative move or the mode of frustration where you feel like you have to come out of the pose. You can, of course, it's really entirely up to you how long you want to stay in this pose, but make a commitment to just not fidget and stay in the pose for 3 minutes. And if you need to come out of the pose because of any sharp pain, please do. This is really important to know that the self-care is so that your body, you are taken care of. It has nothing to do with how anyone else does the pose. It even has nothing to do with the shape of the pose or how far or how deep you're into the pose or anything like that. It's really about to just allowing your body to be quiet. And with that quietness of your body, you can quiet the mind. And then in that quietness, you can begin to observe what your habitual patterns are. Not just in the physical body of what you tend to do, but even in the mental. What is the habitual pattern of reacting to certain situations? This is truly the intention of the Yin Yoga, besides the fact that we're able to increase mobility and flexibility and pliability. It's really to come into stillness and observe the mind. When you observe the mind, you can find the observer, you can notice the observer and begin to really see who is doing the thinking, who is doing the acting. And then from that point, make choices to respond to situations, not just reacting to situations, but really responding from a place of deep awareness. Take a deep breath through the mouth, through the nose, and exhale out through an open mouth. Let it go. And do this 2 more times. So inhaling through the nose and exhale out through an open mouth. And 1 more time, inhale and exhale. And then as you're ready, gently begin to press up on your hands. If you're on your forearms, gently lift your torso all the way up. Coming back into the center, bend the back knee, and then just gently stretch both legs to the front. You can shake the legs or do whatever organically comes to you. You might want to just windshield wiper the legs from side to side, or stretch the right leg that you just extended.
rotating the ankles one way, rotating it the other way. And then we're going to try the other side. So initially just come onto all fours, tabletop. And then taking the left leg now, walk the left foot closer to the right wrist and allow the knee, the left knee, to come down closer to the left wrist. And just notice first, if you take that left foot closer to your groin area, it might be a little bit easier. You might want to start there and then eventually see if you like to take the shin away from the groin. And then if you're leaning one way, come back to the center so that you can really feel the stretch more and more in the outer hip of the left side. And if your hips are really high up, I would suggest that you put a blanket or a bolster underneath the left hip. And actually, I even like to take that blanket and put it right underneath the hip, all the way from the hip to the knee, so that the entire thigh, the left thigh, is resting on the blanket. And then just take a look behind you and make sure that the right leg is extended back behind you. Then take a deep breath in, just make the spine long. And then exhale, feel the left hip melting a little bit closer to the earth. Inhaling, elongate the spine. Exhaling, the hip melts down a little bit more. One more time, inhale. And exhale. This time begin to come down really slowly, just being really mindful that there's no sharp pain in your left knee whatsoever. If you feel a sharp pain, please come out of the pose and you can try the figure four instead. Otherwise, see if you want to stay on your forearms, or if that's easy for you, you can stack your hands on top of another and bring your forehead down onto the back of your hands. And then just gently begin to take a deep breath through the nose. And exhale. And do this 2 more times so that you really feel that you can relax in this pose. We're going to stay here for about 3 or 4 minutes. So you want to be as comfortable as you can possibly be in this pose. I know it's a challenging pose, but it has so many benefits in terms of opening up the hips and stretching the groin area, as well as opening the flow of energy in the liver meridian so that your liver works efficiently. In Chinese medicine, they call the liver general of the army. It's kind of like a chemical factory in the body. The liver produces and secretes the bile that then is stored in the gallbladder in order for the digestion to take place. So a healthy liver is really central to being healthy. Overall health of your body really depends on the healthy liver. The health of your hair, nail, skin really depend on this one organ that is it's actually the biggest gland in our body.
The liver meridian runs from your the big toes, all the way through the inner thighs, all the way through the liver and gallbladder. And then it even goes up to the lungs and out, circling the eye out through the outside corner of the eye. So really allowing the body to just be soft and relaxed and effortless in this pose. And the more you stay in this pose, the more you feel as if there's an opening where you can feel the stretch a little bit more without resisting, without it being too intense. And give yourself the opportunity to soften into this pose just a little bit longer. And then notice if you're tensing your shoulders or your jaws or your forehead. Be mindful that all those areas are soft. Taking one more deep breath through the nose, exhaling all the air out. And two more times, just like that, inhaling through the nose and exhale out through an open mouth. And one more time, inhale and exhale. As you're ready, gently begin to press yourself up. Coming back up on the forearms and then gently pressing yourself all the way up to an easy seat. Bending the back knee, draw the knee a little bit closer to your chest. You can sit with the legs extended, lean back and just move your legs side to side. Or you can lift that left leg towards your chest and then rotate the ankle one way, rotate the ankle the opposite way. Or you can move organically, whatever comes to you. You might want to even do a downward dog. And whenever you're done, come back into an easy seat. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, bringing your hands to the heart center. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. See you next time.